So let's go back to one of our top stories tonight. Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, says Nigeria's new visa policy will improve economic prosperity and national security. The new e-visa replaces the visa on arrival policy and could prevent the country from being a safe haven for criminals. We're joined now by the minister himself.
Yes, indeed. As promised, thank you so much, Minister, for making our time to be on the news tonight. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So we understand this is yet to go through the president's desk to become final, but in essence, we do have a new visa policy that talks about an e-visa system promising efficiency, security, and economic growth. The question is, what exactly is changing from the last policy, and why now?
Well, thank you so much. What we have is a visa policy proposal. You know, it becomes a full-fledged policy once the president assigns to it. And obviously, it's driven by the understanding of what a visa should be. You know, the normal interpretation is like a visa is a means of entry into a country. But no, that's not just it. A visa is a means of migration management. It's an instrument of migration management, border control, and a catalyst for economic development, because you need to open your space for investors to be able to come. And people who don't want to come to Nigeria, for instance, to invest or to explore the opportunities in our wonderful country, and they need to beg, they need to go through lobbying or before they can have access. You cannot do that. So this particular government, the renewed hope government of Mr. President, is about foreign direct investment. It's about making it easy for people to come, at the same time not compromising security. And you can see that it's the emerging trend all over the world, where Nigeria is not the first to start it. We know Australia is what is done. In Qatar, in UAE, even Morocco, in South Africa, a lot of countries are migrating to e-visa for short stay visits. Okay, so, and of course it means that you don't even need to go to our embassies. I'll give you an example. Somebody lives in Vancouver in Canada. He doesn't need to go to Ottawa. Somebody does not need to leave Toronto or you don't need to leave British Columbia to go to Ottawa. For instance, you don't need to leave the extreme. For instance, you are in Oldham or you are in Glasgow or you are in Cardiff. Why do you need to go to a visa approval center or an embassy in London? You need to fly. So the ease of getting entry into Nigeria, we realize that it's so difficult. It's frustrating business, it's frustrating investment, and it's even frustrating tourism. So we decided to look at what is done all over the world, global best practice. What's the emerging trend? How can we solve this problem? How can we make application easy? How can we make the enhancement of national security and border control easier? How can we manage our migrations issues better, at the same time being able to use visa as a tool for economic development? So this new application opens about, before we had about 70-something types of visa. A lot, it was too cumbersome. There were times that group application was almost impossible. Even families were applying as a family, weren't there. So what we decided to do is to bring that down to 44, compress the solution, make it easier, make it more accessible, make the system more centralized. And also, before you, I don't want to lose my line of thought on this. One of the issues we saw before, for instance, is when you go to our VSE or embassy to apply, we have immigration attaches all over the world. We realize that the criteria, what you go through to get a long stay visa is what you need if you just want to come for 1 week, for example. And that's not healthy. Then number two is the fact that when you go, who is the person that receives your application? This an immigration attaché. The same attaché is the one that evaluates. The same attaché is the one that processes. He's the same one that queries, that approves, that issues. Where is control? Okay. So now with this system, all visa applications, in December last year, Mr. President came, commissioned the Visa Approval Center now in Abuja, in line with global best practice. So we have built a robust, solid infrastructure, IT infrastructure, physical, civil infrastructure, power infrastructure to be able to give a 24/7 service to people all over the world that are applying.
That's impressive, Honorable Minister, I must say. I mean, let me stay on this centralized visa approval center, you know, to ensure uniformity and reduce corruption. And I'm wondering, will this not be unwieldy, especially when there is a glitch? When there is technological glitch, how do you address those challenges? That's number one. And in the previous visa system, were there cases of security breaches directly linked to, you know, what, you know, obtained before this e-visa that's coming on stream?
Thank you so much. You know, you're talking to an IT person.
Right.
I mean, I'm a certified ethical hacker. It's what I've done for over 2 decades of my life. Of course, the key issue is that any solution is subject to glitch, but you must have redundancies, okay? So all those has been factored, and I can tell you we're going to have a very sweet experience. That's number one, because there are redundancies. You won't say because there's a possibility of a glitch in the bank, then you need to go manual or whatever. You understand what I mean? So your responsibility as a solution provider, as a proponent of a solution, is to look at the worst case scenarios. Like what we say, the language in technology is you expect the best, but you prepare for the worst. Okay, so in preparing for the worst, it means that you have your backup solutions in case there are issues like that. That's number one. Number two, I will give you an instance. Last year, so many visas, so many people were arrested at the point of entry for fake visas. How do you do that? Because we have a dual visa regime. But what we're trying to do now is to migrate that visa regime to just one. You had some places where it was written paper visa, some were biometric visas. Yeah. You cannot have a country run like that with the same instrument of migration on 2 different regimes. So what we're trying to do is to converge it so that even our visa, and don't forget that the e-visa, for instance, that is going to be issued, it's going to have your QR code, it's going to be scannable, so there are a lot of border control solutions such that people will no longer fake it. Right. Because if you do not secure it, a lot of people, there are some syndicates, for instance, they make a living out of faking security documents. It's our responsibility, it's the responsibility of the state to be ahead of these sort of people, not lagging behind or pursuing those people. So these are some of the things that we're trying to do. And in personal and in centralizing the approval, it's even more robust because we know the number of officers we have in diaspora. We're going to have more here because this center is massive. They are group A, B, C. They work only 8 hours. So they are like, it's 24/7 shift. So that because when Nigeria is sleeping, Australia is awake. So we have to be there 24/7. And now we have created even response line. We've created a tracking system. For example, if you go and apply for an American visa or a UK visa, you can track your application. These are part of the things. Then if you have complaint, we have a call center that is coming up. You know, we're building that with one of these telecoms. And of course, we have the email. And again, which is also key, is that if you say you're coming to Nigeria for tourism, for example, you have a reservation for a hotel, I must have an inbuilt solution that allows me, you understand, to even confirm some of these things.
That takes me to my next question, Honorable Minister. When you mentioned syndicates and fake visas and all of that, how does Nigeria ensure that when foreigners come into Nigeria, they don't overstay, they don't misuse their visas, and they don't disappear? Do we have processes and checks in place to ensure that just the way Nigerians are scrutinized abroad, these foreigners don't abuse our visa processes and visas and stays?
Well, let me tell you this. It's part of the new visa policy, all right? Because part of what we're doing is to automate your landing and your exit card. Remember that the last time you came into Nigeria, you know that when you're coming, almost when you're about getting in here, they'll distribute land card to foreigners, and people will be looking for buyers.
Papers,
we are saying no more paperwork. So we are digitalizing that and automating it. So once you come, the is less than 1-2 minutes for you to sort that out. So that because there will be institutional memory, and we don't need to be keeping paper and etc. So once you come, automatically that has a QR code, it has a barcode and all the features. Once it comes, it's scanned, bam. So there's an activation of a counter. So if you want to, by the time you want to leave, you need an embarkation card in line with the Immigration Act 2015. 15. So automatically, if you have overstayed, we spoke about it today, and that's why I'm so grateful to the diplomatic corps. They were all there today, most representatives of most embassies, because we showed them
so
the
this
way
will
it was.
deal with the issue of illegal immigrants?
Yes, overstayers, and of course there are now penalties. And we told them there will be 3 lists. There's a white list, there's a grey list, and a black list.
Can you tell us more about that and the penalties?
Yeah, for instance, the white list is, of course, you obey our laws. Of course, next time you want to come, you have that access because you're a frequent traveler and we don't have anything. But if it's a grey list, once there are infractions, and obviously per day there's a penalty that we say we're going to put, which is going to take effect from, I think, August 1, which is about $15 per day. And if you overstay for more than 3 months, then we can ban you for 5 years. Then if you overstay for 1 year, you can't tell me it's a mistake, overstaying in my country for 1 year. Then we will ban you for 10 years. All right? So we are trying to put this, as I said, we are open to business. That we are open to open our space for people to see the beauty of our country.
Okay,
but
great.
that is with due respect, so far you obey the immigration laws of Nigeria.
Minister, let's open this conversation. There are quite a number of issues, and we hope we can, tackle them before we leave you tonight. The issue of the Chinese, and the company, where Chinese shot Nigerian, immigration official. You came down hard, you've spoken down hard that you're going to deal with the situation, decisively, though diplomatically. But what exactly are the plans? What is being done to address that particular issue?
Well, let me make a point clear. The Chinese did not shoot the immigration.
Okay.
There's an allegation that he instructed. It's an allegation. And I don't want to comment so much on that, because anything I comment now is going to be within the realm of speculation, because we're partnering with the police to be able to investigate that. And I can assure you, once the investigation is done, we'll come out and we'll make it public. And of course, there are channels to handle these things, because our responsibility is to protect Nigeria, protect Nigerians, and of course, foreigners that obey the laws of our land. And we will not shy away from that responsibility.
Okay, another issue is you have vowed to use biometrics and technological solutions in recapturing escapees from the prison break incident at the Cotton Cafe Correctional Center in Kogi State. Where are we on that?
Actually, let me say, you got it right. It's a jailbreak, not a jail attack, because there are 2 different things. With 2, we mix it, because when you look at the perimeter, you look at the architecture, you will know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu coming into office has really built a strong perimeter infrastructure. Perhaps it would have been worse. Okay. And it was, it's suspected, let me use the word suspected, that there's a lot of complacency, but investigation is ongoing, you understand, because there was no wall that was destroyed. It was, of course, I don't want to delve, but we are investigating. But I want to assure you, and you look at what has happened. Years ago, even when I became minister, and in Suleja, we had a jailbreak. We couldn't get their biometric. It was impossible. It was tough. We're recapturing them it was very tough. But I tell you, within the first 48 hours, out of the 12 that escaped, we got about 6. We've gotten about 6 back, and I think that this morning, I think they told me they've gotten about 7.
That's in the case of Cotton Cafe.
Cotton Cafe, yes. So it means that it's only 5 that is at large, and we will get them, because we have their biometrics, we have their pictures, we have all their details. We have automated this. That's what has changed. And I want to say this very clearly. You see, there is no system that is foolproof. Even in America, there's jailbreak. Don't forget that even Pablo Escobar dug a tunnel in America, escaped. But the issue is that the Americans went after him and they got him back. So people will always try to beat the system, but the most important thing is the system must have a way of protecting itself. And that is what this government has been able to do. And you can see that, that today we have about 7 out of 12 back, and we know the remaining ones. I tell you, we're working hard, collaborating with Kogi State government, because the government has also been very, very helpful. The state government.
Before,
and sorry, let me.
I
I need to make,
only 2 minutes.
No, I have to make this
very quickly.
because we forget so many times that issue of correctional services on the concurrent list. It's not on the exclusive list of federal government. So collaboration with state governments and all tiers of government is very critical. And Kogi state government on this, they've been very supportive. I have to say it openly. Okay. And the local vigilantes and everybody, we're making it a joint task and trying to get to the root of it. Get these people back, let them face the law, and protect our system from further attacks.
Okay, so now prisons were changed from prisons to correctional centers. What exactly are, what measures have you put in place to ensure that this truly are correctional centers? Because when you look at the welfare of inmates in Nigeria, it's less than salutary. The food they eat and everything else that has to do with prison life. We can't, it's nothing to write home about. What are you putting in place to ensure that things improve on that front? You set up a committee, some committee to investigate, and come up with reforms that need to be put in place. There
was viral video of the food.
Of the food.
Yes.
What are you doing in that?
Thank you. I listened to your question. Well, quite importantly, the correctional service is one that's very dear to my heart, just like any other agency. And you have to understand that the name changed from prisons to correctional because of change of ideology. A prison is a place of incarceration. A correctional center is a place of correction, reformation, transformation. And that is what we're trying to do. When you look at even the infrastructure, a lot has changed. About 10 or 12 of our correctional centers have changed. Kuje is just here. You can take a look at it, even inside, out, the cells, everywhere, it has changed. Even educational facilities, the e-library, the Open University, and a lot of things. We have students today now that have degree, masters, and PhD. A lot is going on in that regard. And even for the feeding.
What's the budget for their feeding?
I'll tell you, as a government, we're transparent, don't worry.
Okay.
What we inherited was 750 naira per day, but as of today, Mr. President approved a 50% increment, taking it to 1,150 naira, if I'm not wrong, in my mathematics, per day, all right? That is part of what the president, and also, we're also looking at, you must also look at that do not forget that we are just recipients. We are the last point within the criminal justice system. We do not arrest. Correctional centers don't arrest. They do not prosecute. They only keep. So part of what we're trying to do is we're working already with Ministry of Justice to look at our 68% awaiting trials, to be able to look at non-violent awaiting trials, issues of non-custodial services, so that if we are able to do this, there'll be a bit more of this decongestion, and of course we will be able to train. And also, as a matter of reformation and transformation, I have to tell you that in the last 6 months of last year, the correctional service did fantastically well. A lot of them were trained on skill acquisition, and of course being empowered, because we realize that one of our major problems is the rate of recidivism. People commit offenses, they go into correctional centers, they get back worse, and they go back. So that is failure of correctional system if that happens. So we are working on all these things, and of course there are so many other things that and of course one thing that is very critical before I go is the issue of urbanization. It is not just illogical, it is not just irrational, it is illegal, because the law says that a correctional center should be must have a buffer of minimum of 100 meters. Right. Do not forget that correctional service is the oldest agency we have under the Ministry of Interior. But you have to understand that the Ikoyi, for example, was built in 1956. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not. Today, it shares the first.
There's so much we can talk about, but we have to go.
There's always one more point.
But the good thing is that Mr. President has taken the bull by the horn by approving for the process of relocation of 29 correctional centers to start, so that the prison is inside Agodi market in Ibadan will leave the market. The one inside the GRA in the Enugu will leave. The one in Kirikiri will leave. And of course, the one that is opposite government house in Akwa Ibom will also leave. And of course, we can cure ourselves.
Thank you so much, Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, joining us on Newsnight tonight. We could give you all night and it still won't be enough.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.